How do we look?
The WWE Universe is in complete shock after Jon Moxley, one of wrestling's most unpredictable and dangerous figures, sent a chilling and cryptic message directed straight at Paul Heyman, following an explosive turn of events that unfolded backstage. What was supposed to be an ordinary night quickly escalated into a volatile situation, one that has now drawn Moxley, a man known for his chaos-driven mentality, into the center of a storm that could shake WWE's power structure to its very core. The tension between Moxley and Heyman didn't appear out of nowhere. In fact, their history goes back years, rooted in betrayal, manipulation, and mistrust. Paul Heyman, the self-proclaimed wise man of WWE and the architect behind some of the company's greatest champions, has always prided himself on controlling the narrative. But when it comes to Moxley, control has never been an option. The two men represent opposite ends of the wrestling spectrum: Heyman, the mastermind who manipulates from behind the curtain, and Moxley, the wild, uncontrollable force who thrives on destruction. The incident that sparked it all began when footage leaked from Backstage showing Paul Heyman in a tense conversation with Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa, apparently discussing unfinished business with someone who had previously betrayed the Bloodline's trust. Fans immediately began speculating that Heyman was referring to Moxley, a man who once stood shoulder to shoulder with Reigns as part of the Shield, before breaking away to forge his own violent, unrestrained path. The whispers only grew louder after Reigns reportedly mentioned that he was not done with the past. Hours later, during a commercial break, a message appeared on the Titantron, static at first, then the unmistakable voice of Jon Moxley snarling, "You think you can erase me, Paul? You think you can hide behind your soldiers? I don't forget, I don't forgive, and I don't miss." The arena fell silent. The camera cut back to Heyman, whose face turned pale as he realized the warning was meant for him. Moxley's message of vengeance. Later that night, Moxley released an unfiltered video message online, the kind that only he could deliver, raw, intense, and dripping with menace. Sitting in a dimly lit room, eyes fixed on the camera, he spoke directly to Paul Heyman, making it clear that his rage wasn't a fleeting emotion, it was personal. "You think you control the game," Moxley said, his voice low but filled with venom. "You've been pulling strings for years, turning brothers against each other, feeding your monsters, and watching the world burn while you stand there smiling like it's all a master plan. But here's the thing, Paul. Some fires don't burn out. Some monsters don't stay leashed. And I'm coming for you to remind you that chaos doesn't answer to anyone." It wasn't just a threat, it was a declaration. Moxley has always been known as an agent of chaos, a man with no allegiance to anyone or anything but his own twisted sense of justice. His warning sent shockwaves across the wrestling world, with fans and insiders wondering if this was a prelude to something even bigger: the history between Moxley and Heyman. For those who've followed their paths, the animosity runs deep. Heyman had once championed Moxley as a future cornerstone of WWE, a performer unlike anyone else. But Moxley's refusal to play politics, his disdain for authority, and his unpredictable behavior often clashed with Heyman's methodical approach. What started as mutual respect soon turned into resentment. When Moxley left WWE, he made no secret of his frustration with the system Heyman helped shape. Now, years later, with Reigns' bloodline facing cracks in its foundation and Heyman's influence starting to waver, Moxley's reemergence couldn't have come at a worse time for the Wiseman. The symbolism of his message wasn't lost on anyone. Moxley isn't just coming after Heyman physically, he's coming to dismantle everything Heyman has built. The locker room reacts backstage. The reaction was immediate and intense. Superstars reportedly huddled around monitors as Moxley's words echoed through the arena. Some, like Seth Rollins, were said to be visibly shaken, while others saw it as vintage Moxley, a man who thrives on chaos and fear. Even Roman Reigns, known for his stoic demeanor, was said to be furious after hearing the message, though it's unclear if he plans to involve himself in the brewing conflict. Paul Heyman, meanwhile, was seen leaving the arena immediately after the show ended, surrounded by security personnel. Sources close to WWE report that Heyman has since demanded additional backstage protection, fearing that Moxley's threats aren't just words but a promise waiting to be fulfilled. Could Moxley return to WWE? The biggest question on everyone's mind is whether this means Jon Moxley is returning to WWE in an official capacity. While no confirmation has been made, the sudden spotlight on his name, along with the cryptic message aired on SmackDown, suggests that the company may be setting the stage for one of the most explosive returns in recent memory. Imagine the chaos if Moxley were to confront Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa, and Paul Heyman in person. The Shield's past colliding with the Bloodline's present could redefine WWE's entire landscape, setting up a war between two legacies built on loyalty, betrayal, and dominance. Heyman's silence speaks volumes. Since the incident, Paul Heyman has refused to comment publicly. No interviews, no statements, not even his usual cryptic tweets. For a man who thrives on controlling narratives, his silence is deafening, and perhaps that's exactly what Moxley wanted. By staying quiet, Heyman may have shown fear, something the Wiseman rarely allows anyone to see. However, those close to him claim that Heyman is already working behind the scenes to protect his interests. Rumors suggest that he's been in communication with Roman Reigns and even lobbying Triple H for additional support, fearing that Moxley's unpredictability could lead to a dangerous confrontation. The calm before the storm. For now, the WWE Universe watches and waits. Moxley's message wasn't a one-off threat. It was the opening shot in what could become a full-scale psychological war. If there's one thing fans know about Jon Moxley, it's that he never issues idle threats. When he says he's coming for someone, he means it. With Paul Heyman now firmly in his crosshairs, and with the Bloodline's future uncertain, the next few weeks could mark the beginning of one of the most intense rivalries in modern wrestling history.